You're listening to a lifestyle podcast with Lovoni and Sarah. Our goals: to inspire good health and well-being, empowerment, beauty and joy, offering support and friendship as we share our journeys in the hopes it helps you. Hello my friends, and thanks for tuning in to what was once the Waiting Room podcast. I'm Lovoni, and together with my co-host Sarah, we want to let you know our podcast has changed its name from the Waiting Room podcast to simply Lovoni and Sarah. Now, along with the name change, we're doing some rebranding and developing a website, all very exciting, and we'd love you to come along on this adventure with us.
The Waiting Room podcast is a no-nonsense approach to losing weight and feeling better. Join me, Sarah Holton,
and me, Lovoni Walker, as we talk frankly about our weight loss journeys, what works for us and what doesn't.
Welcome to episode 5, The Mindset of Routine. Today we're discussing the impact that positive habits and routine can have on our overall mindset, helping to pave the way for weight loss and better health. But before we get started, let's check on last week's goals. Lovoni, what was your goal and how do you think you've got on?
My goal was to do the fake it till you make it thing, which might sound ridiculous to some, but I'm all about, putting it out there into the universe. So if you say, I can't do something, or I won't do something, or something's too hard, then it will be like that.
That's what you
get.
So
I was doing the opposite, and, saying, I can do this, I've got this, sort of thinking like somebody that's lost weight and feels in control of their food and their exercise and just, their overall health. So that was, the way that I just had to keep reminding myself, forming that habit, and I still am going to keep doing it. So I did do that. Not every single second, because, you fall back into that old habit of, it doesn't matter, or panic because, oh God, I just want to eat. But just trying to chill about that, and just positive affirmations, I guess. Even though that might sound a bit dicky, but it worked. Anyway, I lost exactly 1 kilo in doing that. So
that's excellent. And that means you're starting to really add up now.
It's slowly. I can't notice it yet, but, I will soon. So
well, you will, everyone is just adding to it. So
right,
it's fantastic.
Exactly. Slow and steady, right? Well, and what about you?
Mine was similar. So my goal was to live like the person that I want to become. So again, sort of the fake it till you make it, but actually just be that person now and not wait until I've got to the point where I've completed my weight loss or completed the sort of the health change that I'm looking for. So, and it went really well, actually. So I spent a lot of the time preparing what sort of food I was going to have, making a list of that, making decisions based on the fact that I'm already living that way. So no, I don't eat that or lots of that, those sorts of things. I lost 3 pounds. So awesome. Really chuffed with that. And I just felt a lot more in control, actually. So it's been a really successful week for me. I'm going to keep making sure I keep do that. That's
good. Well, I find, to talk about routine, I think that if somebody is going to embark on a lifestyle change, which is what, this is, losing weight, getting healthy, has to be a lifestyle change, not something you're just going to do for a couple of months or a few months.
Yeah.
First of all, have a goal, and then have a plan, and then set, and I'm going to steal your word, Sarah, sorry, but then they have to set their intentions, which I think absolutely. Is, an awesome thing, but they can't just, don't just go into it just hoping for the best. At least have some sort of a plan to then build on that, and, little things. Don't say, I'm going to go to the gym every day, because, and for an hour or whatever. Just, small things, whether it's going for a walk for 10 minutes, or if they do like to go to the gym, you don't have to go and, take on the world all in one go, because then you're not going to sustain it. So just set small, achievable goals, and then maybe you need to look at it, a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks down the track, but and have a plan, because Otherwise, you're
and
just, drifting.
for me, I think you've got this goal, which for me is sort of quite a lofty thing. It's in front of me. It's a way off, which is why I always say, as you just said, then I set an intention. So my intention for the day, or my intention in that moment, whatever that might be, because the goal is something that I'm working towards, which is further off. But I need to have something between me now and where I'm working to then. So that's how my intentions actually work. But I think the routine is just it's a method of getting me or us to that end goal. So I think it's all about a stage. So exactly as you were saying, small little breakable chunks, which all add up to a bigger success. But the routine is something that I have to start with to then actually then form a habit. So you could say, well, that's your routine. It is. But if it's something that I have to actively think about every single time I come to do it, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be something which is then becomes a bit wearing on you, isn't it? You just sort of think, oh, okay, I know my routine is to go and do this, but do I really want it to be? If you can make it something which is quite simple, that you almost don't have to fight with yourself to go and do to start with, that routine quickly becomes a habit, which means you don't ever think about it, and you've taken that burden. I mean, we've talked about before, that constant dialogue in your head, isn't it, of going, oh, I don't want to do it, but I have to do it, and it's
the excuse
anything that comes in between you and doing
back
it,
and forth, and it just uses up so much energy. And then you think, well, just go and bloody do it, and then it's done. And then, if you've set the same time every day to do that, I mean, I might not have a shower at the exact same time every day, but pretty much I have, I do that.
Or even if you have to create, exactly, but if you have to create flexibility in your day, right, even if you haven't had a shower first thing in the morning, you're going to have one today.
Right.
And you're going to brush your teeth and, all of these things. So
right.
It'll be exactly the same. So if something has to flex for whatever reason, because you've got to be out the door really early for work, or, a vet appointment for the dog, or, anything can pop up, can't it? That means that your routine, if you look at it very regimented, as a regimented routine, well, I always do it at this time. But if you class the routine as a habit of the fact that you do exercise every day, right, that's enough of a habit, isn't it? And now actually your routine would look that you probably try and do it at the same time every day, because it makes it something you don't have to think about. But if you allow yourself a bit of flexibility within that, then you just know you're still going to do it today, and it doesn't even have to be a battle in your head, because it just happens every day.
Because you do it. And you have to, I mean, you have to build on that. People can't expect to start this and then suddenly, whammo, it's going to happen. No. Because I think of a routine as like consistency, perseverance, those two things. That's what, builds these good habits. And at the same time, you have to, with the bad habits, because we all have them, try and, remove, I say that a lot of that is environmental. So try and remove any friction if you can. And I see, for me, frictions being something like waking up in the morning, and instead of getting out of bed, I might scroll through, Instagram or Pinterest or something like that, and suddenly an hour's gone by, and I think, well, God, I could have worked out in that time. But now I need to, start my day and get into work, even though I, work for myself, work from home. And so that, for me, that friction is to not do that, to just alarm goes off, turn it off, get up. My workout clothes are already there because I set them out the night before. Throw them on and go to it. Stops all the worry and the back and forth. I shouldn't say hurdle and not look at it like this, but when I go on location to do food styling, I get up even earlier, and where I live is out in the country, so I'm nowhere near Indianapolis, so it takes me a while to get down there. And will I exercise first thing in the morning? I don't know. I know I'm not going to do it in the evening. So instead of doing my normal, I'm going to have to just tweak it a bit. And for those, like, I've got a 2-week photo shoot coming up next month. So in that time, just do something, whether it's 15, 20 minutes, at least I've done something. And I'm still maintaining that routine of working out every day.
But what you've just said there is your responsibility to do that. So like Mel Robbins said that no one's, shared a reel earlier this week, no one's coming to save you. No one's going to come and do it for you. No one's going to make it easier for you. it's down to you to do that, isn't it? And
Right.
she's also then said is that, you try to make the least resistance between you and what you want to do. So laying, she's talked about laying her workout clothes out on, on the bedroom floor so that it's there ready in the morning.
Right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, don't think, just go and do it.
And do it.
Because there's no one else is going to make this goal for you any more achievable than yourself. You're going to have to just get on and do it. And you've described before about the fact that part of making these things, sort of putting the least resistances away, is things like moving the cookies off the, having a jar of cookies in the kitchen is just not possible for you at the moment, because obviously then they're just shouting at you and then eat it all and all that sort of thing. For me too, it'd be, and now I'm getting back into control, a bit easier, but it would be for me too. But I don't want to end up living my life like that all of the time.
No.
I don't. I want to get to a place where I don't feel like I'm doing the walk of shame, leaving the kitchen because I've eaten a cookie.
Right, you
it's
can
just
walk past them and it doesn't matter. Or if you do have one, it's a controlled thing. You've made a choice. You're going to sit down, make a coffee or a cup of tea, and have one or two and enjoy them. And not feel guilty
life is
about
to be enjoyed, for goodness sake. But
right.
what it is about having the control within those decision-making moments of saying, 2 is enough, 1 is enough, I'm going to enjoy a coffee. But actually, I think also there's a little trick in there of actually making time for yourself to allow yourself to enjoy these things. Because don't you think, if you eat a whole packet of biscuits or cookies, truthfully, do you enjoy every one of them?
No.
I don't.
It's
They're just going down.
Few.
And it's almost like the last 5, I had to rush to get them down. So I'm like, I'll just get the packet finished.
Right. And then I don't have to worry about it, because then it's all gone.
Well, actually, almost, and it's this weird, compulsive thing of just getting them all done. It was only really the first 1, maybe 2, that I actually enjoyed.
Right.
So it's tapping into those, being aware of those things. And maybe that's part of a routine as well, of just listening to yourself a bit more. So we can see routines as very much things which we could map out for a day or map out for your work schedule and things like that. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's triggers and things, the routine of making sure that we're aware and listen to ourselves. It's again another mindfulness situation, isn't it? You just sort of think, okay, my habit, which has come from the routine of being forceful of thinking, right, Sarah, think about it. Do you want this? Are you enjoying it? All of those sorts of things will then become a habit of then me automatically thinking, I really enjoyed 1, but I know I'm not going to enjoy 4. Because it's just sort of gone too far. So it's like a muscle memory, isn't it? A mind muscle memory. Yeah. And then it will become habit, and then it will be just the way that we live, which means that we'll be able to have 1 or 2 and understand that having 6 won't be enjoyable. No. So it won't be something that we do. So the routine that we'll have to set up to begin that will be to make it a really conscious, maybe even saying it out loud situation of saying, that you don't enjoy it past 2. You're just shoving them in. Actually have that sort of outspoken routine to myself. Then that will become an unspoken habit, and then that will just be the way that I live, because I don't want to not be able to enjoy biscuits or chocolate or whatever it is.
A cake if you go to someone's birthday. The same sort of thing. What I do, and I do this with the exercise, I focus on how good I feel afterwards. Mm-hmm. And so for me, if I feel like just, eating something that I know is not going to help, this is a question that everybody could ask themselves, is this going to help? Is it going to be nutritious for my body?
Yeah.
Is it going to help how I feel about myself? Am I going to feel guilty afterwards? I mean, I know, we want to get to a place where we don't have to think like that.
No.
If you can just have 1 or 2. But if you feel like you're, oh my God, I'm on that verge of, binging, then, there's some things to say to yourself, because that's another thing I focus on is how shitty I feel if I just let myself go on like some sort of crazy eat-a-thon.
I think it's not real, I'm sure, but I almost feel like I can feel like the poisoning happening in my body.
Right,
you sort of think, I can feel all of that sugar starting to swarm around. Probably not, but it's just.
Well, we talk about how our fingers get sore. Your hands get
joints,
sore.
My feet swell, and
all of that. That's your body just saying, I don't like what you've done to me.
But that then affects your state of mind as well, because you feel more unattractive.
Right.
You feel more creaky. You feel almost like you've harmed yourself intentionally, and then you just, and then that gives yourself a hard time about that, and then you feel like you've fallen off the wagon. But I guess that's where routine can kick in. So we're talking about routine becoming habit. So realistically, there's going to be times probably where we break the habit. So whether it's because we have overindulged in certain things, for even like let's talk about Christmas time. Christmas time, everyone is likely to have a lot more sugary food. Go for it. But the point is that come January, you've got the ability to go, I really enjoyed those 2 weeks, whatever it might be. Okay, back to it. But I've broken the habit. So what I'm going to have to do is refocus on my routine again. So my routine is this tool which helps me engage the habit, which, so I think that's the thing, isn't it? Well, let's use a routine. Let's create one that works for you. Like you were saying, there's no point setting up this, all encompassing, amazing routine that you see someone else on Instagram having, when you know full well there's no way that that's going to work in your day, or you hate it, or you haven't got time for it. It's just not a waste, feasible. It's a waste of time. So for me, anyway, that's what a routine does. It starts something off to become a habit, which means then I don't have to think about it. And then the natural feeling of feeling good because I've done, how I feel after I've done exercise, or even the feeling of being in control. I love feeling like it. I love feeling like, you know what, I've chosen lovely food. I've got my food prep, my meal prep's done, batch cooked in the freezer. I love that organised feeling. And my body feels a lot more confident because of it. Yeah, I think so, because I just feel a lot more sort of sassy and
peppy.
Yeah, that's just better about myself, and that's all come from preparation, routine,
right?
And yes, eating good food, but I don't think it's so much the food. Even I think it's the whole process of feeling I'm in control of what I'm doing.
I think one of my I don't think, I know one of my downfalls in the past is when I am in a good routine and I get off track with it, which is fine. It happens. It's called life, right? But then you were talking about Christmas, and I know a lot of people do this. They say, I'm going to start on my healthy eating plan, or my, healthy diet, or whatever you want to call it, New Year's Day, or after my birthday, or in a week from now. But I think what then happens to me, I know other people do this, it's like a bloody free-for-all, where you think, well, I am just going to not exercise and eat whatever I want, whether it be good for me or not, because I'm going to start this in a week. And then comes a week's time, or however long, and you start it and you falter, excuse me, and now you've put on more weight because you had that. So I think that if people do start into a routine and something happens, maybe a loved one, God forbid, ends up in hospital, or, you've got to work away, you've got to travel or whatever, just start it right now. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm going to start it. Don't prolong it. Just start right now, whatever that looks like, whether it's going for a 10-minute walk, whether it's, making yourself a healthy sandwich or a little salad or whatever, but start right now. That's what I'm learning to do. If I think, oh, God, Lovoni,
I think it's interesting as well, isn't it? Because I think that as I was listening to you then, I was just thinking, the thing with a routine and when you're in control and everything is that maybe you do make some decisions that perhaps we're going to have a takeaway tonight or whatever that might be. But I think it's having the awareness of, when you're saying starting right now, it's also included in this, is going, you can't do that every night though. I know that sounds really obvious, but all of a sudden go, well, I've made that choice because that's okay. That's just once. But what happens if just once turns into 4 times in a week? Right. You're just not going to make progress. So there are going to be times when you're going to have to make difficult decisions. As much as you can think, I've got to create balance, particularly while we're in this phase of trying to get it shifted. It will be different potentially afterwards, but it's still, you don't want to start gaining weight. No. It's start now. So if you're making these decisions, think, okay, I am willing to give myself a treat in the week, but I'm going to have to forego it for the other 5, 6 nights, because actually if you keep doing it, you're going to undo all of the work that you've done. So it's that starting now, making those decisions that you might not want to do, with the flexibility that every now and then you can add things in, but just be careful that those adding things in don't start to overtake everything else.
which is, another thing where planning comes into place. And
Yeah.
Sarah teases me about how early in the week I get planned
Yeah.
for the following week. But in my defense, seeing I cook for a living, I kind of have to do that. But I'm very organized, and I like to get that
I couldn't
out of the
believe
way.
it. It's a Wednesday. I was like, a Wednesday.
Well, I know sometimes I do it on Tuesday. It just happens that,
Tuesday.
so Tuesday for the following week, because I know, okay, recipes are tested for my website, so I know what I've got to buy there.
Yeah.
Ones that I want to test for, upcoming posts, and then whatever it is that I'm working on, which is currently a Mexican cookbook that has 100 recipes, but it feels like it's got about 600 at the moment.
Yeah,
I have
still going.
25 more to go. I just got those yesterday, so yeah, looking forward to getting that finished. But for me, it's planning. So I know what I'm going to make. I even write it in my book. I've got the stuff on hand, and granted, where we live, I can't just pop to a restaurant or call DoorDash or one of those things. So there's that in my favour. But it stops me just, maybe throwing a bit of toast down and some, butter or whatever to have something nutritious, because I've got it planned out. And I've found working with people that's often their biggest peeve, if for want of a better word. They say they don't like cooking, but really they don't mind it. It's more the planning and having to think about it, and having the conversation with either your kids or your partner of, what do you want for dinner tonight? I don't know, being the usual, or I don't care, being the usual cop-out. And so then it's up to you to make the decision. Whereas if you have some idea, some sort of a plan, and then that becomes routine too, it can be kind of fun. I actually really quite like to do that.
Well, in lockdown, I did, because of having to do online sort of food, grocery shopping and everything, I did do a whole meal plan for the whole week. And then I got out of the habit of it because we got back into normal life and everything. But this week I did do a bigger shop. So I didn't actually write down every single night what we were going to have, but I had meals planned that were available for me to dip in and out of, including I knew I had some of the meals in the freezer that I'd batch cooked, so that's really, really handy. And then what I've been doing, which works really well, because I have a rough idea of how many calories in a day that I want to eat, not down to the last one, but a really good idea so I can keep an eye on it. I start with my evening meal plan first. So I know that I've got a really nice evening meal to look forward to. I know what I'm going to have. I know what calories I've got left for the rest of the day. And then I can plan in snacks and when I'm going to have it. And for me, I've been having breakfast a bit later at the moment because that's been working for me. So I've been having my breakfast at about 10:30, have my lunch at about 2:30. I plan in a snack between 4 and 5 because I don't know about you, but that's my danger time because I'm so starving. I could eat the entire contents of the kitchen normally by about then, and you're like anything, so I make sure I've got something planned to eat between 4 and 5 o'clock, and then my evening meal is already done and dusted because I know how many calories and what I'm going to have for that, and whether that is getting the portion out of the freezer or I've already done the shop at the supermarket for the whole week. So that's worked really well for me. And I think it takes away, again, another thing that takes away the thinking. I don't have to then stand there and think, oh, God, I can't be bothered. Should we just get takeaway? Or I can't be bothered. Let's just have any old thing that's quick. So just have pasta too many nights a week. You don't want you taking away the resistance by having it planned, having the ingredients there, potentially already having it cooked, and knowing that my day is planned out so that I know that I've always got something to eat without me having to then reach for a cereal bar or whatever it might be that's full of sugar. That's what's been working for me, and it is planful and it is a routine. And it just works. In the morning, I write down what my evening meal is going to be, and then I work backwards, and then I know that I've got that comfort of I never have to feel like I'm going to be hungry.
Right. Well, and it's like journaling. Say, you can.
Yeah.
People, some people journal. And it's something that I would like to do because I think mentally it would help me.
Yeah.
Currently, everything that I write down in a diary, day planner is all about work. But I think just to, get those thoughts out. But I think 15 minutes it would take to sit down and plan your weekly meals. And then,
Yeah.
or, look for some recipes on the web. And now some people might go, oh, I don't have time to do that. But I think, well, you have time to sit and scroll on your phone. So why not invest 15 minutes
Well, that's
in
exactly
yourself?
that. As I say that it's an investment, isn't it?
It's
It's a
an
bit
investment.
of self-care, really.
Right. And if you
and
want
actually,
to do this and get
yeah,
healthy,
that's
then
exactly
you
what I was going to
need
say.
to do things like that. You
Do
need
you want to do it or do you not?
Right.
And actually, do you want to feel better? Do we want to be on this journey of being healthier and losing weight? Because for me, I'm going to have to lose it so that my body moves better.
Right.
It's not just a case of accepting who I am. I need to make a physical difference so that I can move easier. It's as simple
Feel
as that,
strong
really.
and vibrant.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
doesn't want to feel like
absolutely.
that?
And so, unfortunately, I'm not going to just wake up tomorrow and it's going to be done. I'm going to
Right.
have to put some effort in. And actually, nothing in life happens without a bit of action, does it?
Nope.
Whether it's work, whether it's relationships, whether it's your health, you need action to make something happen.
Right.
And actually, there's going to be people that are quite happy or content just to be who they are because they don't want to put the action in or the work in that's going to be involved. Fine. But if I want to be different, I'm going to have, within myself,
Right.
I'm going to have to put the action in. I do it in my business. I do it in my work. You understand that you've got to keep plugging away and doing
Right.
that it doesn't
And that's
happen
being
on its own, does
consistent.
it?
It comes back
Yeah.
to that whole consistency. Because, I was consistently not exercising and
Yes,
overeating.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
that
yeah.
got me to this point. It didn't mean I was eating shit food, but it meant that I was consistently overeating. So I need
Consistently
to
not mindful about it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I need to consistently work out and I need to consistently exercise, whatever that looks like. And I actually don't mind exercising. And now I have, new knees. That makes a really big difference because before I used to try and find some things that I could do. Swimming was my one thing, but, I live here in the Midwest in the US and, you can only swim so many months a year.
Yeah.
So I don't have that excuse, I guess. Having shit knees isn't really an excuse, but it
it was a reason.
It was a fact. But I don't have that anymore. They're great. I'm a year out from my second surgery and it's made a big difference. So, and that was a lot I went through, as you know, with your hip replacement of having those two surgeries. And anybody that's listening to this, if they've had a knee replacement, they know what a horrendous thing it is and such a big, recovery time. So I don't want to waste that. I want to just get on with it. I don't want to waste life, feeling
that you could have just not done it. You could have not gone through all of that and still been, if you're still just going to be in the same situation. So and actually, how fortunate are we to have been in a situation where we have got them done? There's so many people that are living without being able to do it.
Right?
And then it's just genuinely wasteful to then not do something about it.
Right. And even if somebody is in pain and has trouble moving, I think they can still, maybe they feel like, oh, okay, you two don't know what you're talking about because I can't, move how I want to move.
Yeah.
But they can still then look at their diet. Or what I did was I went online and looked at exercises that I could do in a chair.
I was just about to say that. I've seen loads of that recently.
Right.
Is actual sort of just moving from the chair and just and it does make a big difference.
Right.
And actually, it really alleviates a lot of aches and pains.
Moving.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? The more you start to move, the less you hurt.
They used to tell me at rehab that, when I would go for physical therapy after my surgeries, that motion is lotion. So your joints need that. I mean, you know what it's like if you've been sitting too long and you go to get up and you're like, oh, ow.
You're 90.
I mean, that's just come with age, but still, it makes a really big difference. I know when I'm been busying about the house, I don't have any of that. If I sit for too long, then that's what happens. So, but there's always something. People have to get creative. It's also a case of not having the money necessarily to. I'm not suggesting anybody go and buy. We've bought some exercise equipment over the space of a year, but it doesn't cost anything to go for a walk. Mind you, if someone's
Yep.
debilitated and they can't do that, then, just move something, whether you're sitting down doing it. But it's also
Well, your own
food.
body weight is enough, your own
Right,
body weight is
right.
just,
Yeah.
you don't have to buy expensive weights and things,
No.
and effectively now, obviously there was a time where I tried to do yoga, but it's very difficult. It's still not easy for me now because I still need my left hip replaced and the right one is still
Right.
very new. But, just moving and things like that does you the world of good.
Some
It really
stretching
does. So,
too.
yeah,
But
stretching
even,
and
people say, like food, eating healthy is expensive, but it doesn't have to be. Things
no,
like, black beans. You can buy a can of beans for $1 that can do, a few meals. And,
frozen vegetables are
frozen
always
veggies and
a lot more
frozen,
reasonable.
yeah,
Yeah,
and frozen fruit, is definitely, I think, the way to go, especially when you live in places where the climate is,
yeah,
you get plunged into snow and well below freezing temperatures. There's absolutely nothing wrong with frozen
no,
products. And when I say products, I mean fruit and veggies. And the nice thing about those is too that they're picked at their premium. It's not like they've
yeah,
sat around in a store for
no,
ages. So people shouldn't turn their nose up at that. And they make great soups. I mean, you can't expect
yeah,
to have them all fresh and crispy, like broccoli. But the broccoli makes really good
yeah.
soup. And I just whiz it up with some beans, like white beans, cannellini beans,
Oh,
which gives it
okay.
that nice creamy consistency.
Yeah,
So you're getting lots of fibre, lots of vitamins, lots of good slow-release carbohydrates in your diet. So it's doing things like that and making them habitual. But, we keep
and it's
coming
like we
back
said the other week about making, and also the preparation of the
to
batch
some
cooking.
batch cooking. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can make your money spread further because actually when you do then do a bit more of a bulk buy and a bulk cook, your ingredients do spread further, and that's part of a routine, isn't it? Maybe you set every once a month just to do a day of
Right.
cooking and get all of
Spend
this
some
done,
time.
whatever works for you. Yeah.
It's amazing what you can do in 2 hours. Even,
Uh-huh.
like a bolognese sauce, you can throw some extra veggies into it, some
Yeah.
carrots, mushrooms, even if they're not in a bolognese sauce. If, to get more veggies in your diet,
Yeah.
that's a great way of doing it. And it freezes beautifully. And you
Yeah.
can put that in a pie, you can put it over pasta, even over rice, whatever,
Yeah.
Have it on toast, fill a potato with it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Just with a bit of cheese, something like that. And that's not expensive.
No.
So, there's little things that can be done, but it's just that whole consistency and making small changes. I think anybody that, maybe isn't a great veggie eater, they don't particularly like veggies, so to say, okay, I'm going to start this habit, this routine of eating healthy, to think that they're suddenly going to go and consume
Bit daunting.
5
Yeah.
servings of veggies a day and have a big salad or whatever. But just to even say, okay, I'm going to include 1 extra vegetable in my day and start
Hmm.
small like that. It's like the 10-minute walk or a
Yeah.
5-minute walk. And I think I've shared this story with you before. I heard it on a podcast, and I think it was from the UK, where this man was like morbidly obese. I'll get it out. And to the point where, go to the doctor. I mean, if people are starting things, they should go and get checked out by their
Yeah.
doctor anyway. But he got a trainer. He got somebody to help him. And all they used to do was drive to the gym. The man didn't work out. They did this for, I can't remember the exact period of time. It was for several
Okay.
weeks. They
Yeah.
did this. They just drove to the gym. He didn't do anything. And then he'd go and he'd do 10 minutes or 5 minutes and 10 minutes and then build on that. But what this trainer was trying to do was get into the habit of going.
Yeah.
So that, that was the thing. So you get into the habit of putting your workout clothes on and going to the gym. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh, that I mean, really, I guess you could think, oh, that's dumb. But no, I mean, really, it was good. And in, during that time, the man was, eating better and starting
Yes.
to lose weight because that is, eating right is the fundamental of getting healthy. And so, and he started little bit, and then it just became a habit, and that's what he did. And I thought, that's kind of a cool story. I'm not sure if it's true or not.
It doesn't have to be this perfect, painting this massive picture going, well, I'm never going to achieve that, or it's too big. As we said at the beginning of this conversation, tiny, tiny little steps are genuinely enough, because they will add up as long as you keep adding to them. Not that you could expect to only do a 2-minute walk every day and it's going to make a massive difference, but start with 2 minutes and it genuinely will be the start. The hardest thing is starting anything, isn't it? Because you just think,
because you think
finding
about
the motivation.
It, and then you overthink it, don't you?
Yeah.
You overthink it to the point where you almost talk yourself out of it. And that's what I said. If people, are in a routine and something happens and they get out of it, to start it back up, don't put a date when you're going to start it back up. Just start it right now.
Just do it now, and don't write the whole day off.
It doesn't matter whether it's the bloody middle of the day or whatever. Just start, from then, And I think that makes a difference. It certainly makes a difference to me, because there is, like we keep saying, there is no fast track way. I heard Oprah in an interview when she lost a lot of weight, because her weight's, fluctuated.
Yeah.
And she said people were saying, and she says she lost all this weight, she's looking amazing. And people were like, well, it's easy for you. You have a personal trainer and a chef and, people to help you. And, I'm sure that's much easier that, someone comes and gets you out of bed or cooks your food for you. But she said at the end of the day, it was still up to her to do the work, to put the work in, to eat the healthier food, to move her body. It wasn't up to anybody else. It didn't matter how much she was paying people. And it's back to what Mel Robbins said. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to do this for you. You're on your own. You might have a support network, but they can't do it for you. They can bolster you. Yeah, wow, you're doing great, but you can't, one, expect that, or two, rely on it. So
it's a mindset, isn't it? It's your own mindset.
Yeah.
It's your own mindset towards creating a routine. It's your own mindset to making sure that routine becomes a habit. It's your own mindset to say that habit just becomes an everyday for you. But if you do fall off that in some way, as you just say, to start again right away. If you then have to revisit the routine and go, right, what was my routine? Let's get back to that. So that will then enable me to make this habit again. It's just making that straight away rather than writing off a week, a month, a year. Right. Because it's so easy to do.
And just keep remembering those 3 words: consistency, perseverance, and determination, because they will get you where you want to be every time. They certainly will. So, goals for this coming week. What are yours, Sarah?
Mine's going to be making a dedicated time for some exercise. So up until now, I've been sort of picking and choosing and just doing bits and pieces that fit. But I really remembered during lockdown, I did exercise bike at 5 o'clock every day, and then I did some sort of exercises on the mat on the floor, and I felt really good, and it made such a difference to me. And I was reflecting on that only this week, thinking, why am I not doing that again?
Right.
It seems so simple. I was like, well, it worked really well. I felt good. Why did I stop doing it, and why am I not doing it now? So that's my goal for this week. I'm going to make a dedicated time and try and stick to that time. But if it's not that time, it's fine. I can flex it, but make sure I do it every day and just see how I feel at the end of it.
Mine is going to be same sort of thing. It's just the exercising at the same time, because I'm working from home this coming week, so I know what my schedule is now. Some things might change that, but for right now, it's going to be working out at the same time every day. And for me, that's early in the morning, which just suits me better, because the afternoons my husband comes home and he works out. And so he then takes up I like working out by myself, in our workout room without him in there. And I think he's the same. I mean, we both do our own thing. And, I play, when I'm on my bike, I have a game on my tablet, my iPad. I play that, and the time goes really fast. Or I listen to a podcast. People could be listening to us.
Absolutely.
Listen to a podcast or watch something, have a telly or your screen or something. Watch it on your phone. Just to, that helps the time sort of speed by, I think. So my goal is exercising every day, and I'll change that up a little bit. But, with the cardio and strength, I'm doing both because I really like doing the strength training. I don't mind the cardio too, but I particularly like strength training. And, as you get older, it's super important.
Very good for your bones, yeah.
So for next week, what are we chatting about?
Next week, we're going to be talking about the impact of decluttering and what it can do for your state of mind and your overall health goals. We can share what we're going to be doing to what we are doing about our own spaces.
I'm really looking forward to that one because I think that I'm very organised. I try to be.
Oh, you have a dream home with regards to how tidy and organised it is.
Well, I'll share how I keep it like that. Granted, I don't have any children, but there's something that I learnt a long time ago that I'll share on next week's podcast. It's something so simple, but it works. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram, The Waiting Room Podcast, and to subscribe to us on your favourite podcast platform so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Toodles.
See you next time. Bye.